Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be taking an astrological look at the upcoming Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor super fight, which is going to take place on August 26. One source I saw on the internet had it at 9 p.m. Eastern time, which would, of course, it would make it 6 p.m. in Las Vegas on Pacific time. So, anyway, well, I want to talk about just the way the chart looks in general before I talking about what may look favorable in terms of a winner, which might surprise you based on the chart. But anyway, well, Venus is in Leo, 1 degree. I'm not really flabbergasted or shocked. This is going to be, I think early degrees and signs in planets and signs or what have you. They could indicate really not procrastinating, a lot of initiative, enterprising type energy. And being in extravagant Leo, it doesn't surprise me. People are going to be paying a lot of money for this fight. This fight has potential to set a record in terms of revenue generated. I really wouldn't be surprised if it did. Some other things that are interesting is that Saturn either went direct goes direct on August 26th or may have gone direct the day before. And being in Sagittarius, Sagittarius could be associated with sports. And it's not a big surprise. It's almost like finally, okay, taking that Saturn responsibility for this sporting event. And another thing I find very interesting is that the North Node in Leo makes a very tight conjunction to Mars in Leo on the day of this fight. So what this tells me, this fight was really destined to happen. This extravaganza. Now, Mars could be associated with combat and things that are combative, and the North Node is the destiny. Then you add Leo, extravagant Leo and flamboyant Leo into the equation. Well, you get the idea, people. This was a big extravaganza that was going to involve something combative. It's going to generate probably a lot of revenue, and it was just meant to happen. And I believe, this is like what they call, a great example, I think, of astrological destiny, so to speak. So, and anyway, as far as this fight goes, and it was very interesting when I looked at it. When you look at a chart for a fight, for sporting and boxing match, okay, some of you may know, others may not. The first house represents that home team or that person. In this fight, it's individuals. I see Mayweather as the person at home because Conor McGregor, of course, is a fighter from Ireland. So I look at Las Vegas and Mayweather, that's the home person. That's in Aquarius, that first house cusp. And the seventh house cusp has Leo on it. Now, the first house cusp, okay, being in Aquarius, shows me that, okay, this could be, Mayweather can come out, maybe be a little unorthodox or unconventional to what we're used to seeing him being. He did say on some interview on TV that he was going to be in a more aggressive style as opposed to less defensive, if I'm not mistaken. So, but I don't think he's going to go along with that. I think it just shows a lot of unpredictability. And then you have the seventh house cusp. No shocker, I wasn't bewildered or in a state of shock in this one, being in Leo, and it represents McGregor being the visitor. Very gregarious. He's been talking a lot, very flamboyant. It shows me that he's going to probably come out with a lot of confidence, a lot of exuberance, very self-assured. He's going. My feeling is I don't think he is afraid of Mayweather. Even if he believes he's going to lose, he's not coming out with any fear in this fight. He's going to come out with a lot of courage and fortitude. What's interesting is that the moon is combust in Scorpio in this, based on the degree it is going to be combust in Scorpio on this day, and it shows that this fight might be the result could be unpredictable. And also, even if Mayweather wins, which I believe in all likelihood he will win. However, it seems the chart itself, what was interesting about it, it actually seems to favor Conor McGregor in this one. There's a ton of astrological energy in the 7th house in this chart, and including the North Node in Leo. And when the North Node is in the 7th house, it could be more auspicious for the visitor in this particular fight, which I do see as Conor McGregor. Mars will be in there as well, along with the Sun. So there's going to be a lot of energy going with Conor McGregor. The only thing is, I think the Mars makes a transit Mars in Leo makes a square to McGregor's ascendant, so you could really, you got to modify that and the energy thing a little. I mean, his energy might not be as strong as what this chart is indicating, but I do see a lot of energy for this fight because Mars will be making a conjunction to the Sun when this fight starts, and so I think you're going to see overall the energy level is going to be very strong for this fight. And I mean, when I look, with that North Node being in the 7th house, it does really favor McGregor, but I think you have to incorporate a common sense into this equation, so to speak. I mean, anybody that follows boxing, I mean, it really knows that Mayweather is really the far superior fighter. I don't care what he said, and he had some interview with Stephen A. Smith and said to some degree, you know, his boxing ability has diminished or deteriorated a little bit or whatever, and he says that McGregor's the better fighter on paper. Most of us know that just all he's doing is trying to give McGregor maybe a false sense of security, or maybe making the fans feel that it's going to be more competitive than they originally thought, thus maybe a ploy or scheme to generate more revenue. So I think that's all what that's about. And with Mayweather, I mean, he's got his Mercury, if I'm not mistaken, is in Aquarius. What's interesting is that Aquarius is going to be on that 1st house cusp in the fight. But this is just based on the one time I got from one source online that it would be that the fight would take place 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. It's going to be 6 p.m. Pacific time in Las Vegas on August 26, 2017. But I do see, I mean, as far as this fight goes, I do see that really Mayweather does have Mercury in Aquarius, if I'm not mistaken. McGregor has Mercury in Cancer. Emotions can cloud logical thinking when you have a water Mercury. And I think with Mayweather is probably the more cerebral and smarter fighter. He has the most experience. And the thing about this too is really, this is another thing I want to talk about, is that transit Jupiter is going to be making a close inconjunct to McGregor's ascendant at the time of this fight, and I think that could maybe have some effect on the energy level perhaps. And I think when you look at this, it could sometimes show, I mean, when you have Jupiter making an inconjunct to the ascendant, and I'm not 100% sure on this. I think transit Jupiter would be in McGregor's 6th house, but that's something I have to verify. But even if it isn't, the fact it's making an inconjunct to his ascendant could show possibly maybe a propensity to overwork, or perhaps overexert oneself in terms of this fight maybe. So I think that's another thing to look at. Now, the thing about it is McGregor does have, I mean, he does have a Cancer Sun and a Taurus Ascendant. His Taurus Ascendant is actually very close, almost exactly conjunct my Taurus Ascendant, oddly enough. I mean, he obviously has strong powers of tenacity, persistence, and perseverance. I think he's going to, I mean, you're going to see him give it his all. A lot of people don't look at the fact that when a mixed martial artist goes up against a boxer, mixed martial artist has a whole, I mean, they have a multitude of different fighting skills, but he's just not trained specifically really in one. I mean, like Mayweather is. McGregor is making the transition in this fight. Fight Mayweather and try to outbox him. Mayweather, I do believe, even though that chart to, in my opinion, look more favorable for McGregor, actually. I'm still going to go with Mayweather, but what I think the chart basically says is that, to me, knowing that Mayweather is still the far superior fighter, that McGregor will make this a little tougher, I think, on Mayweather than a lot of people think. It might not be like over in like under a minute like a lot of people think. It may go on a little bit longer, and McGregor might really, I think, very well will make this a tougher fight. McGregor will make this a much tougher fight on Mayweather than a lot of people do anticipate. So anyway, people, that'll conclude, and I am picking Mayweather, of course, to win this. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my astro analysis on the Mayweather-McGregor super fight. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.